Welcome to our little program on Your Life, Your Party. I'm Joe Pray with Pray Funeral Home. We also offer pre-planning through our Pray's Peace of Mind program. This program is titled Your Life, Your Party, and it resulted from so many conversations I have with people when somebody says to me, "Oh, when I die, I just want my family to have a party." Have you heard that before? I'll bet you have. Well, we can help you plan the meaningful celebration that person really wants when they say that. Now, you've all been to a great party before, celebrating numerous things: birthdays, weddings, graduations. What elements make those memorable? What do we celebrate? At a party such as an anniversary, we celebrate the life and the stories a couple have shared in their lives. At a graduation, a lot the same, accomplishments and hopes for the future. What about a retirement party? Again, accomplishments and their plans for the future. Some of those same elements can be found in birthdays, which most of us celebrate every year in one way or another, some years in bigger fashion than others. Now, what would we want to include in those parties? A great party usually has music, food, whether it's dinner or lunch, hors d'oeuvres. Sometimes there's a cake. Lots of times there's pictures and posters. Fireworks are a great one, whether it's day or evening. Champagne toast is one that we've had a lot of, and a roast for their personality. We quite often see that in a graduation or a retirement party or some other time when we're honoring somebody for their achievements. There might be games, conversation, dancing, even a dancing demonstration once in a while. Decorations are always part of a party. And who doesn't like to take home something for party favors? Now, if the sky were the limit, what might you add to a party? What experience might you want to have your guests to have? At a recent program we did on this topic in our community of Charlotte, one of the ladies said, "I want all my friends to have a chair massage at my party." Great. Another person said, "I want to load everybody on a plane and take them to Jamaica." Well, we've been at a couple of destination weddings. We've all heard of those. How about a tour of your favorite places, restaurants, bars maybe? However, I remember one that we went on a birthday party where we toured everybody's or the gentleman's favorite wineries in the area. A round of golf is always a blast. Maybe a putting contest or a longest drive contest. Watercolor painting is something that kids do. Why not adults at a party? But now let's pretend we're planning a party for your best friend. What would we do? We would want to show what they're known for. Maybe that would be a roast, as we will. What might we talk about in that program? We might talk about the attributes you admire about them. We might put up the stories that you love to tell about them. And we might involve the accomplishments they've made. They were a great employer. They were a great friend. They were an adventurer. They had a sense of adventure. Maybe some of the stories from that. Or a collector. Lots of people collect lots of things. And there's always a story connected with a collection. So how do these events make us feel when we do this? Well, they make us feel happy, supported, lots of friends around to share our joy. And it makes us feel great afterwards because we carry the great memories of these events with us to help us on the days that might not be so grand. Now, let's take one more look at a celebration that we often attend. What might that be? A funeral or a memorial is something that many people are starting to refer to as celebrations of life now. They've come in all different types. Some are very formal, some are very informal. Some are very elaborate. Now, a question was asked, what kind of celebration of life would you like? Something more elaborate and formal in a auditorium setting, or something a little more private? Well, there was a study done by the Funeral Service Foundation through Olson Zaltman Associates, and it was asking people, what are your thoughts and ideas on what a funeral should be? Many of them responded that a funeral or an end-of-life celebration, an end-of-life service should be my crowning performance. It should be everything that culminates there. The mood is a true celebration. Should be. Not grief. Grief is part of it, but let's focus on the great parts we remember about the people. These participants said celebrating life. It means to recognize who I was. It's not going to be sad. One other participant said, put the fun in funeral. I want it to be a celebration, and I want people to have some food. I want them to be able to talk and laugh and maybe have balloons. I don't want it to be solemn. I want to make it an event they would enjoy, celebrating your life, things you did, things you accomplished. It makes you look good. The theme they always talked about was, I think I need to show that I mattered. I think everybody wants to be remembered in a certain extent, this person said. It gives your life that last little bit of credence. It shows that you've made a difference. Lynn Eisenberg, author of Grief Tributes, states in her book, extravagant life celebrations are no longer reserved for dignitaries and heads of state. Ordinary people lead extraordinary lives and want, as well as deserve, to be recognized for their contributions to family, friends, and community. It's important that we recognize that for you it means you all have stories we want to hear and stories you want to share. You've told them to friends and family for years. They all have meaning. They all may be entertaining, and they may be educational or instructional or even advisory. The point is, don't diminish your meaning to others and don't devalue your experience. Just because you weren't the bank president or an important politician, it doesn't mean your life didn't have value. Celebrations of life are something that we've put a lot of together. So what do we include in those? Well, it depends upon what the family or what the individual or what your friends want to do. What attributes of a friend or a family member should we include in their life story if we were putting one together? Well, Mom was a great housekeeper. She always took care of that. We loved that. She was a great cook. I couldn't get enough of her homemade apple pie. My father was a great employer. My sister was a great friend to many people. My brother is quite an adventurer. He had quite a sense of adventure, and there's a lot of stories connected there. And a collector. Many people are collectors. And one thing I've noticed about a collection is a collector loves to talk about it, and he loves to tell stories about it. And many of those people many of the friends can remember those things, remember those stories. Why not share those, bring those to the forefront? What might you include in a celebration of life? Well, there's always information on hobbies and interests. Oh, Grandpa loved to fish. He loved to hunt. Woodworking. Oh my gosh. We'd have all kinds of people who brought furniture in that they've beautifully made with their hands over the years. Gardening is a favorite with all the floral tributes that we use. Maybe your dad was a pilot. Loved to fly. He has stories from that. Maybe the stories about when you flew to some far-off place for a weekend, which was a blast that you remember. Golfer, how about everybody line up on the favorite hole of that person and tee off? Maybe 100 people teeing off on that favorite hole all at once. Wouldn't that be quite a sight? And what a tribute. Skier, water skier, snow skier, maybe a barefoot water skier. There's always stories connected with that, and usually pictures and friends that remember that well. Bingo. How many people sit in the bingo hall for their enjoyment, and it's a great time to have? We had one time where we had a big bingo enthusiast, and we had everybody had their favorite bingo card. We called the numbers, and ironically, everybody got a jackpot on the person's favorite number, B8. Bingo. And how about when Grandma's favorite thing was to go to the casino? We have that a lot because she loved to visit the casino and pump the quarters into that slot machine just for fun. Sometimes she won, but she always had fun. And what do we want to include in a funeral that shows all these great attributes and helps their story? What else might there be? The wagon train, helicopter or airplane flyover. These are some of the more unusual things we've done. Always using antique automobiles or other symbols, fishing trophies, the mounted deer head from the den wall to show the big buck that Grandpa got years ago. How about a model B-17 Flying Fortress for that gentleman who was the tail gunner in that machine, in that flying machine in World War II? Palm trees for those who want to be somewhere else. Maybe non-alcoholic pina coladas that we can hand out to the guests, along with a Hawaiian lei, because Grandma's favorite place to visit was Hawaii. And who doesn't want to have their college mascot there when they're a big sports fan? Ambulances and fire trucks, we've used a lot. Golf clubs? Well, it's always nice to have that favorite putter sitting there waiting for everybody else to see if they can beat his hole-in-one record. And fireworks. Who doesn't like fireworks? Those are a blast. Literally. It's just kind of an example of some of the many things we've done. Whether it's the wagon train that went through town for the guy who was a big aficionado of wagon trains around the country. Even pink flamingos on the front yard. The flyover and antique automobiles. What a blast. Now, what else would you add? Maybe tributes from friends. That's always important and always appreciated. Live musical performances is always a welcome addition, especially when they play that favorite song. And who knows? You might even want to have somebody get up and demonstrate your favorite dance, whether it was the foxtrot or even the twist. Celebrations of life. Why are they important? Because the family wants to tell those stories, and the family wants to make sure everybody else remembers, because they don't want the person who's gone, they don't want their family member to be forgotten. And they want to hear those stories from others in the community because they want to hear how meaningful their family's members were to others. Again, why? Because family and friends present. It's important. Just as the presence of others increases the joy that is shared at a birthday or an anniversary party, so does the presence of others make the pain easier to bear at a funeral or a celebration of life. So I don't know, party or celebration of life? Yeah, they're similar. Conversation, the sharing of memories, is the same at both. It's appreciated at the party, and it's cherished at the funeral or celebration of life. Now, how can we help a Prairie Funeral Home? After the initial shock of a death and the first emotional hours or days, we sit down with the family and we explore the memories of the deceased. What are they? What were their hobbies? What do you want people to remember about them? These are some of the questions that we pull together to help you help you deal with their loss. Then we translate them into an idea of a memorial with elements at the party atmosphere in an appropriate manner, of course. What are your wildest ideas? Guests signing the casket, casting a lure in the fishing pond, maybe having all your friends stand around and see if they can catch a bigger fish than the other in your favorite river? 100 of your closest friends teeing off in unison at your favorite golf course? An airplane flyover in the Lost Man formation. So tell me, what are your wildest ideas? Think it over and let me know what you come up with. You can email me at jpray@prayfuneralhome.com. That's jpray@prayfuneral.com. I'll send you our Your Life, Your Party workbook to help you record our preferences for your life celebration party. Bye-bye.